Ever wonder why your favorite tracks sound so damn crisp, while yours feel like they're wrapped in a woolly blanket? Compression might just be the invisible hand you're missing out on, but most beginning producers struggle to even hear its effects. Compression is the plugin I hear most misused. Too much and your track sounds lifeless, but not enough and you can't hear every nuance. There's a fine line to balance when it comes to compression, and most producers miss the mark. The common production advice is to use your ears, but how are you supposed to use your ears for compression if you can't even hear what it's doing in the first place? In this video, I'm going to give some actionable advice and tips to start to develop your ear to hear the ever-elusive compression. By the end of this video, you'll have a roadmap of exercises and techniques to follow to start hearing compression and using it better in your mixes. Also, this video is part of a mini-series I'm doing on compression, and the bulk of the information was filmed while making another video. I had so much information to share, I ended up dividing it into 3 separate videos, one of which you're watching now. If you want to see those other videos, you can find them in the description. In my opinion, they're equally important and helpful. With all that out of the way, let's discover how to actually hear compression in the first place. Let's go over some techniques to train your ear to notice the subtle changes that compression introduces to a sound. My first tip is to just close your eyes. See if you can set your mouse over the threshold or the ratio and adjust it with your eyes closed until you get a result that you like. Though visual graphs can help us, we're really focusing on training our ear, so if we take our eyes out of the equation, we're going to force ourselves to get our ears better. Tip number 2, use physical hardware if you can. If you have an external MIDI controller, this is a really great thing to map to compression. For example, if you have 2 knobs, you can map one to threshold and one to ratio, or one to attack and one to release. Then, like before, you can close your eyes, move your left hand, move your right hand until it dials in and feels exactly like you want it to. This requires a little bit of setup, but it will help you understand compression so much more being able to use 2 knobs at one time rather than just focusing on doing things in the box with your mouse. After you've been closing your eyes, after you've already put your physical hardware and mapped it to your compressor, there is one important thing that you can do as well. This is going to seem counterintuitive, but oftentimes the easiest way to hear compression is to turn your sound down on your monitor. Turning your sound down will enhance the transients, or the big spikes of amplitude that happen with sounds. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Now, normally I would do this by just adjusting my audio interface's monitor so that my speakers are affected and not any of the sounds in my actual DAW. But for this demonstration, I'm going to just take my output gain on my compressor down so that you can visually see what's happening as the volume turns down. So now you should barely be able to hear it, and that's the whole point. As we bring that volume in, you're starting to hear only the spikes of the sounds. These transients are heavily affected by the attack and the release. Take a listen when I put the attack as fast as it'll go. Those transients lose a lot of their power at the same volume. Take a listen when I put that attack all the way up. Suddenly those transients are coming through even more. And I don't have to have a high amplitude or a high volume for me to be able to hear this. Same with the release. Let's dial this in until we get a nice kind of punchy type sound. Not too fast, not too slow. Nice. Now same thing with release. We'll take off auto. We're gonna go here. Really fast release. You could hear that compressor taking away the things. It's just affecting it really shortly. Let's go for a long release. Now you can hear the whole signal being affected. Let's find something in the middle that we like, that grooves with the track. The biggest advice I can give for dialing, attack, and release is find the sound or the timing that makes your track groove the most. You'll hear this when you turn your monitors down and start to feel those transients come through. I can hear that hi-hat starting to poke its head out. The release is feeling a little bit better. I'm going to dial in the attack more. Then all of a sudden when we take our output gain up, our compression sounding so much better already. Now, we've been exploring this drum track by itself just to get a feel for what it sounds like on one single drum track to make it easier to understand. But listening to the rest of the track with compression on is just as important. You'll never listen to this drum track by itself when you have a whole slew of other instruments playing at the track at the same time. Another big part of compression is that vibe I was talking about earlier. If it vibes by itself, that's great, but if it vibes with the other tracks too, that's going to be even better. The people that use compression the best use it subtly, and they know how to add groove with it. And one last thing we can do to better train our ears is to be the sound. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but it really is that important for starting to train your ear for what compression sounds like. This is also an easy thing to do to close your eyes. Just set your cursor over the on and off button, get ready to click. I'll even click it 7, 8, 9 times. I'm not counting, but the idea is that I'm hearing it when it's ready to go. Okay, now I'm barely hearing those transients peek through, and I'm going to A/B the sound to hear how those transients are affected and how the compressor is actually working. In -4, -7, -6. Yeah, it's about the same. I think that will work fine. Put my cursor over the A/B, click it a couple times till I have no idea what's happening, close my eyes, and see what sounds better. A or B? That's no compression. Compression. You can hear how it's affecting it, and starting to understand that is going to help you out so much more. Now, for me, the A/B test for this particular example was a little bit over-compressed for my liking. It might sound good with the rest of the track and the mix, but for me, it's taking a little bit too much away from that natural sound that I like. And the reason why I knew that is because I just trusted my ears, like you should too. Now, compression doesn't have to be some mythical creature that hides in a cave. It can actually be a good buddy. It takes time to develop a good ear for compression, but there's no substitute that can make up for it when it comes to producing music. Now that I've given some tips and tricks on how to hear it, the rest is up to you. Go out there, try the tips I suggested, mess up, and do it all over again. Hearing compression is a skill like any other. The more you do it, the better you get. And if you like the production knowledge bombs I dropped throughout this video, you're gonna love the videos I make in the future. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. And if you want to learn more about compression, go check out the other videos I made in this mini-series. Above or below, whatever. Keep on beating, keep on making, and keep on keeping on. I'll see you in the next one.